Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Trekyards. He is Commander Cock.
He's Captain Foley.
And today we're talking about something really cool. We've already kind of talked about it, but we've got some more information, some better visuals, and we're going to talk about it a little bit more.
Well, episode 1, so all the way back in episode 1, they show Jack wielding a new phaser, and the show is quite dark, on a set that's quite dark, but we could tell what it was trying to be. Luckily, these wonderful people behind the scenes have been posting stuff. We've now got extremely clear views. By golly, we're going to look at it again because we both really liked it. Also, if we actually like it, we see it in full detail.
Now, you say new phaser, or do you mean old phaser?
Well, it's a new old phaser. Does that help?
Well, maybe.
So this was it in the show. Point at, Riker's neck, classic Thursday. And already you can instantly see if you're a real phaser lover. That back is off a TOS phaser. It's about other stuff that you notice when looking deeper. Boom! There it is. The full detail version at the Star Trek cruise, in fact, shared by a wonderful person over there. You can't get a better image, really. Except it's obviously past glass. They couldn't get any closer. But, I mean, you want clarity? There you go. Jack Crusher's in... We see pieces, so we assume Jack Crusher's custom-built phaser. You know the 2S phaser very well. You know the Wrath of Khan phaser very well. I would love to hear your full detailed thoughts now you've seen it.
I absolutely love this design, and I'm not one, first of all. The one thing that bothers me instantly is the way the phaser emitter is pointed down. I don't know if it's broken, if it got bent in the process.
I feel like it's got bent, yeah.
It's kind of silly. I would prefer that be fixed and be straight. Other than that, it definitely has the main body and assembly of a TOS phaser. It's quite obvious. And yeah, we do see one broken down on the table and the pan by early. So he's got more than one of these, I assume, or that was the one that got turned into this. I love the TOS phaser. I also love the Star Trek 6 assault phaser. It's got that cover on the top, but that's it. And it looks like just an empty shell. It doesn't look like that's much of a modification, honestly. But I absolutely love this thing. I like the Frankenstein almost steampunkiness of it. So yeah, this is one I want to get in my collection sometime soon. What about you, dude? Do you like this? I know you like weapons as well. So
I do, although briefly, these things aren't meant to be looked at in this detail. If you look at the middle copper, you can see the paint on the... It's not real copper. It's painted resin. Love it, or whatever. So
this
is
just the original streaks on the TOS one they just painted, so...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they should be silver.
Because I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, they had fun. But that's what I see, right?
Yeah.
But I think they've somehow achieved a way by that I am not confident that they actually, say, took a Playmates TOS phaser and kit bashed it. The shapes feel slightly different to me, the one I'm seeing underneath. Is it actually a TOS phaser exactly? Or did they rebuild, did they redesign something different? Because did the angles feel quite right?
It's funny that you say a Playmates one, because the Playmates ones were chunkier and bigger. That's exactly what this looks like based on that handle. Sure, they added like a curved thing to the bottom on the back there, which wasn't there initially. But yes, it feels very much like a Playmates one, which were quite a bit chunkier and felt really nice in the hand. When you hold them up to like a Diamond Select or an actual prop one, which are much slimmer. That's exactly what this feels like as a Playmates one, which is interesting.
Because I would imagine that they would likely take either Playmates or the Wand company, make a mold of it, and then because they need a stunt version, so they would need to make several, and that'd just be quicker and easier just to build that as a whatever. Or 3D print it. I mean, I don't necessarily see print lines. If it feels too. It feels like an old school prop. It doesn't feel 3D print to me anyway.
Feels like a resin cast or something.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
Playmates just re-released that phaser, so that is out there now.
Because I'm my brain isn't quite seeing actually TOS. I'm wondering then how many things they might have tweaked around that. Certainly, there's no the phaser point is a little bit different. The trigger guard. The trigger, and there's a little thing in front of it that comes out which changes the feel. Yeah, the back detail that goes up past the handle, that changes the vibe entirely. That kind of gives it a bulk that is Star Trek 6. Obviously, they've just removed the secondary phaser. now just one big piece. Is that implying to us that he's kind of supercharged it? He's, because in theory, the actual emitter is the mini phaser. It's just launching into the tech in the second phaser with more power. Is this him sort of taking the tech and saying, I want to soup that up even further?
Yes, I would say so. And it's interesting because the assault phaser for Star Trek 6 has that shielding on the top, which you got to assume is maybe related to a higher output or something like that.
Or weathering, or to survive.
Yeah. It could be like an armor kind of thing.
Because we do see, there are prop versions that exist. I have one where that just slides forward and reveals their Type 2.
Yeah.
So it's not innately, like, if the whole thing can slide forward, there's no tech in it. Maybe it's just a cooling matrix and weathering, because the assault phaser, it's there to take punishment. It can, you think, it's like an AK-47, you can roll a tank over it, it's fine. So maybe all he's done here is, I need a phaser that will not break. And then he started adding the pipes to kind of add extra punch, rewiring, jerry-rigging, etc.
Well, those jury-rigged parts and the stuff is interesting because, as you said earlier, in Prodigy, All the World's a Stage, we see TOS phasers that have additional wiring and stuff put on just to kind of...
Very subtle.
Last longer, but yeah, it's very subtle, and it's kind of tied in with this. Now, looking at this one from the side real quick before we move on, it does look like the angle of the handle is maybe a little bit altered from what a TOS one should be. Seems a little bit more pushed back. I don't know, something that's just telling me that it looks a little bit odd, and that could be the Playmates thing again. I'm not sure.
Because it's obviously so close, and yet the little things that are disconnecting me, which I like. It feels more unique than it has a right to do. I can imagine they might have taken, a 3D scan of it or a CAD file and sort of shifted things tinily just to kind of like... Although I will admit, I don't think I like the emitter itself, keeping the 60s sort of... Because it's not. The 60s is just a translucent piece of plastic which hits light. This is just a laser-looking thing from, earlier in the years. I probably preferred a more distinct, probably a 6 style distinct emitter. Personally, I think would be better here.
Yeah, the 6 or the Star Trek 3 phaser as well. That kind of type of emitter on this would have made it much nicer, I think. Yeah,
it would have cohesivized the kit bash, which could be why then it's not done. But even just putting a 6 full front emitter also would have been a logical thing. He had 2 phases, he combined them, keeping the 200-year-old or 150-year-old whatever thing. So if you were to put your cards on the table, Stuart, is it a TOS phaser with stuff on, or has it been modified more than we think?
I'd say it's a TOS phaser. It's just been modified. Yeah, maybe 1 or 2 angles have been changed, but you can see the main bulk of it is TOS, like right down to the little. Where on the wand company the little dilithium crystal goes in that little, you turn it at the front. So
obviously the full comparison. I'm kind of surprised they didn't include like the dots in the handle grip. That'd have been the obvious thing if you were doing a very literal 1-for-1 to include the dots rather than the grills in the handle, the new handle piece.
Interesting. Yeah, it's very TOS, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is a TOS phaser. That's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing. I'm sorry for it as well. The handle has a secondary piece, a secondary blue that's thinner. This one is all connected. So that angle's entirely different.
Yeah.
That changes the vibe entirely, because now it's bulkier. It's got this unified bump to it. Ooh.
Yeah. And that bit behind the handle going towards the back that's curved up, that just bulks it out and makes it look a really kind of... It's actually a really nice looking phaser. The more I look at it, the more I like it. Now it's interesting because the shielding part on the top that looks very much like the Star Trek 6 one only looks like the Star Trek 6 one. It's different curves, different sizes. It's kind of weird, actually.
Yes, he didn't take one literally from that phaser because he can't have. It's the wrong shape.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's a bulkier version. I kind of wish they would make this as a without the pipes and like a clean version, like an actual... what if there was a true in-between standardized version? But this is definitely interesting. Huh.
Yeah, I really want one of these.
Oh, you could probably make one, Stuart. Let's be honest.
I could kit bash one right now. Go to my model table and do it. Although I'd make sure my nozzle and my emitter is straight.
Well, canon accurate though, Stuart. Canon accurate.
Did it?
But yeah, great job all around. I have nothing but good things to say. Really, it's a cool design. We do see him use it in another still, so I'm thrilled. It is going to be continuing. Yeah, one of the behind the scenes stills. So there we go. Hopefully, get some more cool angles. Who knows? Maybe someone will comment. Maybe Laura will say, "Ancient. It's almost as old as me." He could say.
Yeah. Yeah. So let us know your thoughts on it, though. What do you think of this design? If you're a phaser freak like we are, what are your thoughts on
Literally
this?
staring at a phaser rifle right there.
I know. We need him to do a shirt, phaser and freak with PH instead of F. That's a new Trekyards thing. Branded. You can't do it. You can't use it. I'm writing it down. Copyrighting it right now. There we go. Anyway, comment down below what you thought about this phaser design, and by all means, join the channel, support the channel any way you can. Make sure you're subscribed and click the notification bell icon so you don't miss edited content like this, as well as lives where you get to hang out with us and chat and come up with other great shirt ideas. And a big shout out to Liz Kliklowski for the phaser pictures, by the way.
And who is that? That's the art director of Picard seasons 2 and 3, who is posting incredible behind-the-scenes photographs. I mean, really, really, really clear to the point that we're going to use them all the damn time because they're wonderful. For many of the sets, we talked Transport Room. She posted literally close-ups of the emitters. Incredible. And this was one of the phasers. And so follow her for more details. There's the Ilios, there's the Transporter, and there is this as well. So go look. Because, yeah, if you show your support, you might keep sharing, and that's good for all of us. So thanks in advance. And yes, of course, support us directly via Patreon. It's monthly. Join the channel, also monthly. It's a YouTube thing. Look for the button that says join. And follow the instructions on screen. Or jump into
Not only that.
Oh.
Hold on. When you join, you're not only joining the channel, you're also joining the Trekyards fleet, which you'll see at the end of this video. So you can have your name on a ship, be assigned to a ship. Just say it.
Yes, just like that. But with graphics and rendering power. And super chat on any live that you want to join us for on any topic, Picard or not. And keep super thanksing. It's like a super chat. It's the exact same thing, but on any video. I mean any video. It could be one from 5 years ago. Yes, we're that old. 8 years ago. Yes, we're that old. You could go and spam our first episode saying, best episode you've ever done, guys. Well, thank you for the money. Disapprove with everything you stand for. But thanks in advance.
That's right. So until next time, everybody, he is Commander Cocking.
He's Gavin Foley. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.